Paul Garrett, thank you for saying yes to being part of this interview. You're a translator from Danish, and you've translated for Theatre Café Denmark that has just happened. And what has been your experience of translating this play for young audiences?
This particular play?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little while ago now, but it was. I actually had a choice of a couple of different plays that I wanted to that were available to translate, and Be Seeing You was the one that I really loved. That play. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but there was something that really engaged me with that play. There was something in the language and the playfulness. There's a real fairy tale feel to it, and I really love that aspect of it.
This particular play is it's quite harsh. It's quite shocking in many ways.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that in the translation?
Well, it's not the first shocking play that I've translated. I've translated some other plays that have dealt with some quite shocking themes and harsh language, but I always find myself whether I'm trying to rein myself back, whether I can actually say that, whether I can swear that abruptly or say some of the things that happen in there. But in the end, I have to stay true to the words that are on the page and translate them as I feel they should be, no matter how people will respond to that. So yeah.
Do you consider the audience? You know that you're translating English. You know that if this play goes out, it's going to reach British kids.
Yeah.
Is that in your mind when you're translating?
Yeah, I knew that this was probably going to reach a younger audience. You could see that from the themes in the play, and I was trying to get the language right, trying to get the language where it would sound like it was young people talking, and not sound like an older translator who's trying to put his words to it. So I was trying to embrace the language that would be spoken by those people, but not to look down on them, and not to try and soften it for them, just to tell it as it was.
Is translating for a young audience in any way different from translating for an adult audience?
I think, as you said, I think you have to bear your audience in mind for any translation. Your target audience, that's part of your job as a translator. Translators do a lot more than just translate. They promote their work. They have a lot of contact with publishers on how they should sell the book. So obviously you have to bear that in mind, but I think at the end of the day it is really, you have to stay true to the original, and you have to stay true to what is there, and go from there.
As I'm going to think now. I'm going to be editing this. I'm going to be taking out all the whatever. There's one more thing I wanted to ask you, but it just slipped my mind. So when you were translating this piece, Be Seeing You, were there things that you had to change in any significant way? Did you have to kind of reinvent any aspect of it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a specific example. I'm not sure if I can think of a specific example at the moment, but there's always that that you have to bear in mind. I remember one of the other plays where the reference was made to certain British shops to try and get the right identification with the right one, but at the same time they mentioned a university in Denmark. So there was kind of a contradiction there. So I'm always very conscious of, if I do make changes to make it sound to more applicable to the audience, to the target audience, you have to maintain that throughout. You can't go back and forth and have a bit of one. But I do also like to keep the Danishness to it, to keep that Scandinavian feel to it, so that people realize they're getting something that's a little bit different, a little bit foreign.
Okay, why? Why is that?
Because I think that's, you can't run away from that. It's a translated play, it's a Scandinavian play. That's not the most important thing about it. The most important thing is maybe the themes or the content that comes up in there. But there's no point in in hiding that or running away from it. I like to embrace that, and I think also at the moment there's people are really a little bit crazy about all things Scandinavian and Nordic theatre and drama, and so embrace that and use that. Yeah.
You don't think it's going to alienate a young audience who might not be that crazy or know that much about Scandinavia?
Yeah, that is a possibility, I suppose. I remember at a play that I translated a few years ago, we invited a group of students, and they came up afterwards, and they even asked me, so you were mentioned as the translator. Can you tell me what is a translator? They didn't know what a translator's role was, and so I explained it to them. They were, I think they were GCSE level students, so it's. I remember when I was that age, I didn't know what translation was or how it worked. So definitely you have to be aware that people might not know what translation is and what the role it has, and the awareness of a different culture. So I think you have to keep that in mind, but not run away from it, though. No.
Do you have a lot of contact with the original writer when you're translating?
Quite often in the pieces that I've worked on, I've actually commissioned stuff directly from writers or writers who have been looking for a translator, and I've had direct contact with them in that way. So on one particular play that hopefully will be happening next year, it was a really strong collaboration between the two of us. We really worked hard on it together, on the translation. But on this particular play, I actually didn't have any contact with the writer at all. And normally I wouldn't say I prefer it that way, but I don't like to bother the writers with loads and loads of questions, and I know some translators do that. I'll wait till the end, till I'm finished my work, and maybe if I have a couple of really important questions that I think are vital to understanding the play, I might send an email off and see if they're interested in responding, but not too much though. I'll try and work out things as much as I can on my own. So.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
No problem.